The game was rigged from the start. Ripple is the one holding the controller. Do you really think XRP is just another altcoin? Ripple, another crypto company playing with blockchain buzzwords hoping to get lucky. Let me show you the receipts, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began a private hunt. They needed a faster payment option for the United States. They created a faster payments task force. Thousands of tech companies existed. Hundreds of crypto projects were launching. But only one crypto-focused company was invited to the table, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank, the Better Than Cash Alliance, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation published a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance updated their website to feature one crypto company as a model for the future. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, Ripple. Today, the UN's Sustainable Development Goals for 2030 are the blueprint for global finance. You see that SDG logo on Bill Gates' lapel. You see it on the websites of the world's largest banks. In UN-backed carbon credit pilot programs, which blockchain has been used for settlement? XRP. That's not luck, that's selection. But to become the standard, you have to survive the fire. In 2020, the SEC attacked. XRP is a security. For 4 years, they tried to kill it. They dragged Ripple through the mud. They scared off the exchanges. They tried to bankrupt the company. But Ripple didn't fold. They fought. And then came the plot twist. August 2025. The war ended. The SEC dropped all remaining appeals. Ripple paid a fine, got $75 million back, and walked out of the courtroom with the Holy Grail. Federal, legal, clarity. Think about what that means. There are 20,000 cryptocurrencies. How many have a federal judge's signature declaring them compliant for public sale in the United States? The attack that was meant to destroy them gave them the regulatory armor that every other crypto would kill for. While other projects are still hiding from subpoenas, Ripple is the only one with a license to operate in the daylight. With the lawsuit dead, they unleashed the weapon, RLUSD. December 2024, Ripple launches a USD-backed stablecoin. This wasn't some algorithmic experiment. This was approved by the New York Department of Financial Services, the toughest regulator on earth. Look at the advisory board for this stablecoin. A former chair of the FDIC. A former governor of the Reserve Bank of India. A former executive from the Federal Reserve. Former CEO of CLS and Center. Does that sound like a crypto project? Or does that sound like a central bank in waiting? 1 year later, RLUSD has a $1.26 billion market cap. It is the third largest regulated stablecoin in America. And who is holding the cash reserves? BNY Mellon, the oldest bank in America. The bank that manages $48 trillion in assets. April 2025, integrated into Ripple payments. November 2025, Abu Dhabi approves it. December 2025, expanding to Ethereum Layer 2s. This isn't a product launch. This is a financial institution speedrun. You want to know if a project is real? Forget the chart. Look at the talent migration. Smart money doesn't leave Wall Street for a scam. We aren't talking about anonymous developers. We are talking about Rosie Rios, the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, the woman whose signature is literally on the dollar bill in your wallet. She didn't just endorse them, she joined the board. She is not alone. Over time, Ripple has worked with former cabinet-level officials, senior economic architects from both the Clinton and Obama administrations, former Federal Reserve attorneys, and a former counselor to the US Treasury Secretary. This isn't crypto cosplay, this is institutional gravity. And that's just the government side. On the corporate front, Ripple has drawn experience from the core of global finance and infrastructure, including former PayPal executives, leadership connected to DTCC, and senior figures with backgrounds at Amazon, Uber, and Swift. Even Mary Jo White, the former chair of the SEC, stepped in to lead their legal defense. So ask yourself this: why would the architects of the traditional financial system choose to work with a crypto company at all? Because they know where the money is moving. They didn't back a project. They aligned with the next standard. And now, the final piece of the puzzle, the political shift. March 2025, President Trump announces the strategic digital asset stockpile. Bitcoin is there, Ethereum is there, But who else made the list? XRP. July 2025, Ripple applies for a National Trust Bank charter with the OCC. That means direct access to the Federal Reserve payment rails. When was the last time your favorite meme coin applied for a federal banking charter? Never. They are a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, the Digital Dollar Project, the Digital Euro Association, the IMF's High-Level Advisory Board on FinTech, the World Economic Forum, and ISO 222, the new global language for money. Who was one of the earliest institutional members focused on applying distributed ledger technology to real-world payments? Ripple. Let's connect the dots. Engagement with US payments policy discussions since 2013. Featured in World Bank research on cross-border payments. Key SEC claims, rejected in federal court. Institutional custody relationships with BNY Mellon. Hundreds of partnerships with banks and financial institutions globally. Leadership with backgrounds spanning the Federal Reserve and US Treasury. One of the earliest networks aligned with ISO 222 messaging standards. UN-backed pilot initiatives leveraging the XRP ledger for carbon markets. Does this look like a company hoping to get adopted? Or does it look like the rails have already been laid? 13 years. No hype cycles, no pivot chasing, just plumbing. Why do I hold XRP? Because while most people are gambling on promises, Ripple executed a long-term infrastructure strategy in plain sight. The infrastructure isn't coming. It's already here. You decide.